Well, howdy, buddy. You beat my computer's slower than Christmas. What's the news? Uh-oh. Well, what's that? Hmm. Oh, that's about the last time he showed up on the chat, too. I wonder what's up with the little man. I think there'd been a lot of pressure on a whole lot of people. Hard to tell what's going on with Ian. Maybe. He was kind of stuck. He never did put out any videos like he was going to, or at least like he had wanted to, or hard to tell. Maybe he'll come on and explain something or something other. Hey, I'm having pretty good conversations tonight. Seems like every time I try to lead us into something, we end up into all kinds of conversations. So I figured we just give it a go and see if we can come up with conversation and stop trying to do anything else. Watch and see. We'll end up having to do something else because we can't think of anything to talk about. Huh. Ian Myers. Well, hmm. I have some really interesting news. I was getting ready to go to the grocery store, and I was in the bathroom fixing my hair, and Bouncy got carrying on. There was someone at the door, and I didn't even hear the knock. So I went to see who was at the door. Hubby had answered it, and he just about closed the door on the people. And here they was from AT&T. Oh, they had installed fiber optics here, but I had been waiting for the finances to get better so that we could switch to the fiber optics, get off the DSL. So I listened to the people and see what they was getting at. And they said as long as we would make sure to keep up with the deal, pay our bill on time, and check back with them at the end of every year, that we would have a lifetime discount on the fiber optics. Right now, we're paying $67 for the DSL without phone or TV. And for fiber optics, just for the devices, is going to be $49 a month. That is a big drop. And if we fail to call AT&T back after a year, then it jumps up to $80, which it's still not bad. $80 isn't bad for fiber optics either, just for running Wi-Fi. So I said, hey, yeah, give me that discount. So the dude got on the phone with an AT&T tech and got that on the race. So Tuesday they're going to come and put in the router or whatever it takes to get the fiber optics running. No, I'm kind of wondering if maybe it had something to do with any trolls, because he had mentioned that some trolls had said some bad things on his videos some time back. So maybe it was just too much pressure. That is great. And the greatest thing of all with the fiber optics, we shouldn't have any more buffering, at least on this end. If anybody buffers, it's going to be their own device. It shouldn't be on this laptop. That's what I'm expecting. Not to mention, I'll be able to upload videos so much faster. I'll be able to carry all my devices on it. I look forward to it. And for $49 a month, yeah, yeah. Oh, and the other cool thing is, because we switched to fiber optics, we are getting $100. The woman asked, "What are you going to do with your free $100?" I said, "I don't know. Maybe take a trip down to Houston and visit a dear friend of mine." It'd be a great opportunity for me to go see Terry. Yeah, $300 just for switching to fiber optics. I like. And even greater, like they said that they could even give us discounts for using iPhones. Yeah, that's like, I reckon we would have got the $100 even if we had switched from one absolute company over to AT&T. Period. But I'm sure not going to complain. A discount on a bill that's already more just for slow DSL and $100. That's just, that's awesome. Yeah, but I really don't know what we're going to do with it. Probably just put in the bank, or knowing hubby, he'll probably invite his parents to go eat out and repay. It is a great deal. I'm glad that it's going to be cheaper for us because right now, the only reason why I didn't go on ahead and take advantage of fiber optics being installed in the place is because the finances was barely covering the DSL. So, yep, that tells me God's got some good things in store ahead. Going to be needing even better internet. He's got something up his robe. Stretch it the best you can. I was thinking like, well, Friday's not that far, but dang it, buddy, that was yesterday. So you've got a whole week. Wow. Well, that's okay. I've only got $10 until next Saturday, so we've got more bills to get paid out. Good news is we've got food in the house. We've got the bills paid up. Really don't need anything else. It seemed like it was just yesterday, doesn't it, Mark? Yeah, sometimes it gets a little rough, especially if there's things that's needed, but God always provides. He always provides. Now, see, you're set up too. You're good. You're good. As long as you don't need gas and food, you're definitely good. You got it. That $31 is going to be nice to have in the wallet come next payday. The worst feeling, I mean, I do good even if I've got a dollar or two in my wallet, I feel good. But the worst feeling is when you open up the wallet and the moths fly out. I think we've got some folks just watching. I mean, I don't ever believe the counter, but it shows that we've got 4 folks. And 3 likes. There's people that's just watching right now. Let's see, Julian caught, uh, did you catch Terry's uh, haunted stories or just her first one this morning? I know I saw that had responded, but I don't remember which video it was, Julian. That was kind of interesting what she shared about her paranormal experiences. But she's got even more than that to tell. She said she does. I'm thinking of a new series to add to my channel called Lights Out Stories. Yeah, I would be doing it just like I used to with my children when the power would be out. But I'm wanting to make a permanent little startup for it, like me just being there telling that when the power would go out, I would tell my kids stories, and this is how it is now. So let's turn out the lights and then. Julian is nosy. I was trying to get the subject switched. Boy, he gets his mind on one thing. You can't switch him. I've tried so hard. You can't switch him. So yeah, I'm trying to think of a really good startup little clip and just add that to every story. That's what's most important. If a person's got a problem with just freely spending their money, then they don't need no money. It all's impossible sometimes. Okay, I'm just gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch you two converse. How's that? We need some more people in here to get some more talk going. Seriously. Don't get him going, Mark. Oh my God. Serious, Jillian, you remind me so much of my mom. Curiosity, seriously. My husband isn't much different. Oh my goodness. Well, Mark, I guess in our book, currently you are the richest person. Oh my goodness. Julian Carr, I tell you, buddy. You must have been the child that gave a million questions a day. Did either one of you even hear what I said about what I was going to be adding to the channel? Or was you too busy typing? Not only curious George there, but he's got two ears to listen. Well, that's good. So yeah, I just basically think like I'm going to give the startup just one time, but I'm going to stop it there and kind of edit it. And then I'm just going to add that to every story. And it won't have to necessarily be like a ghost story or anything, but at least maybe like fantasy or a little bit of horror or mystery or whatever. But all of them would have to be in line with the lights being out. So, oh, Julian. Now, okay, this is where I'm actually drawing the line because we wasn't going to be having personal matter chats. We're going to be drawing the line right there. We're drawing the line right there. That's too close to being extra nosy. I mean, honestly, it was bad enough us sharing how much cash we've got, but we do need to keep that kind of stuff underneath our own hat because we never know. After what we went through, we don't know who's actually watching and collecting. No, Julian, we don't want to know. What I'm trying to say is we're not wanting to give trolls any fuel. We're not wanting to give trolls any fuel, so we're not going to be talking about stuff like that. We're just wanting to have more fun and games and stuff like that than anything. Yeah, I don't either. So, just I know you really want to know some of these things, but we've just decided because we never know who's watching the chat and we don't want to give any cause to start having trouble all over again. So we're just going to keep stuff like that under our own personal hats. And now that everybody's wallet amount, Julian, what am I going to do with you, buddy? If I could put my hand over your mouth. Please retract your message. We don't need to know all this stuff. Nobody needs to know all this. Somebody take a bullhorn and yell it to him. Thank you. Thank you. We've got our reasons, buddy. We really do. We've got our reasons. I mean, it's great to answer questions and stuff and to share, but there's some really mean trolls out there that's taking advantage of people. You didn't have to share. We didn't ask. We're not trying to be mean about it. There's one YouTuber that ended up being doxxed, and the trolls literally got her personal address and everything, and they've been terrorizing her every night. So nobody needs to know anything, not personal like that. It'd be horrible for somebody to be robbed just because they listened into a chat. We need to just keep that kind of stuff down. Hello, Luke. How you doing today, buddy? Well, thank you. Yeah, that's the only reason why we started to just cut it off, you know, because honestly, we don't want no more trouble. We don't want anybody having trouble. We don't want trouble coming in here. We don't want anybody being doxxed or stalked or anything. We're going to keep our own personal information under wraps because nobody needs to know anything. I'm doing pretty good, Luke. It's good to hear that you're doing great. So sorry that I didn't get any videos out other than my weight loss today, or my weight gain rather, but my journey. Um, I had a slow start this morning. I just kind of gollylagged and then got caught up with the AT&T people and then finally got groceries. So I done good. Oh, I love them. They are so awesome, especially with the Texas sun. The Texas sun can really make your eyes hurt almost to a headache. And the transitions, what's really cool about it, like when you wear regular sunglasses, you know you've got shades. You can tell because everything turns sepia or black and white, whichever shade you've got. But these, even though they transition to black, everything is still clear color. Whatever color is whatever. You can't even tell that you've got sunglasses on. It's neat. Oh, well, I never did know that, Julian. Well, that explains a lot of things, buddy. That explains a whole lot of things. Thank you for sharing that with us. That helps us to understand a little bit more. Thank you, Julian. Now, that was something that was good for you to share with us. So, when we need to get you to snap to attention, what's the best way of doing that so that there's no more going on about certain things? Yeah, how's the best way that we can handle you when we're needing you to just tone down or switch? How does people usually handle that with you? That way we know what to do. So no one's ever really, well, we'll just keep telling you until you finally get that. We'll just keep telling you enough is enough until, okay. All right? I mean, it's important to know these kind of things. That way we know how to handle people. Love you to pieces, Julian. I'm glad that I now know that about you. And that'll make it a lot easier to be able to handle you. Yeah, yeah. No, 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 I didn't think that. That just explains why that you keep going on about a certain subject, even when we tell you that that's enough. That explains that. So it helps a lot. Yeah, I tell you, Luke, it makes a difference. It really does. It makes it so much easier on the eyes being out in the sun, and you still there is no color change. It's like you're not wearing them, but yet you can feel the gentleness on the eyes. The sun doesn't hurt the eyes. It's awesome. Yeah, everything's going to work out even better now that we know that much about you. That will make a great deal of a difference when we're trying to get you to stop about a certain thing. They'll make a big difference. we'll be able to have a little bit more patience with you and keep encouraging you to switch subjects and stuff. So that's good. No, well, there wasn't anything wrong with it. I'm sure that, I think Mitchell's got like, he said he's got a slight learning ability, and you can tell sometimes. So, everybody's got something that they have to deal with. Terry with her anxiety and panic, and Anthony with his foul mouth. Oh wow! See, so all of us, we have to deal with something or another, Julian, and it's just good that now we know that. So I can't pronounce words correctly. I've got the shakes. We've all got something there. So you're good, Julian. You're good. Definitely does help a whole lot to know a person, at least one little quirk about them, so that you know what to expect when they're in the chat. Makes a big difference. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe he's got dyslexia or something. That's what I'm thinking. He said it's just a small learning disability, and sometimes you can tell. Attention deficit disorder. Nicole's got a short attention span. I think I've got a mild case of AD&D, of ADD myself. But it would be a very mild case if I do. I'm able to pay attention for like maybe 10, 15 minutes unless it's something that's really extra captivating, and then my mind just wanders off. Oh, wow. Bless her. Yep. So, yeah, there wasn't anything wrong whatsoever with you sharing that with us, Julian. It just helps us to understand a little bit more about when you go on with a certain subject and we're trying to get you to stop. We know now what to do. Just patiently keep working with you till you change. Are you serious? Are you just joking with us, Julian, or are you serious that you have no legs, pal? Thank you. Well, I'm glad to know that you've got your legs. Yeah, but it's light. Luke, you had said about seeing haunted places. Share with us where you have gone, where you've ever explored. Share with us your stories. Hi, Mom. Where's the best place that you've ever gone, Luke? I don't know if Terry's going to be able to make it tonight or not. Maybe I could message her and see if she's going to show up. I found out that she went to Tombstone. Let's see if I can get hold of Terry here. All right, I sent her a message. We'll see if she manages to make it. Yeah, I saw that Alan had done a pan of the store and it was bare. I guess it was with good reason, huh? But the sad thing is, food still ended up going bad, so. Yeah, I told you, mom is a curious one too. So here's her curiosity. Go on, Luke, I'm reading. Seems like I heard of Clinton Road in New Jersey. Oh, I think on the whole part, places that are haunted is just basically their history that makes it so. What about the Pine Barrens? Are you close to that or no? I've always had a great interest in the Pine Barrens. But the Clinton Road, that really does sound familiar. Seems like someone had talked about that. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I've gone to places that's got supposed haunted things about them. And I haven't experienced anything particularly haunting that I've heard about, but you can kind of feel it. It's the sad history that you can feel. You can sense that. Oh, well, that's great. That's great. I'm glad that at least you could get something to eat. Oh, okay. I don't know where I've heard about Clinton Road, though. I'll have to look that up. I don't remember who was talking about Clinton Road, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing about it. But if I do any exploring, it's going to have to be local and stuff myself. If I know correctly, by the time it had hit Florida, it had finally come down to a 4. But the Bahamas ended up taking the full force of the storm. Other than that, it seemed like it lost its power pretty quickly after that. How about you, Julian? What's been your favorite places to go to? What's been your favorite places to visit? Huh. I never heard of that form of autism. I'll have to look that up. I'm not very familiar with autism and the different forms there are anyway. I'll have to look that up. But what is some of the places that you have enjoyed going to, Julian? Rather it just a visit or anything. What has been your favorite place to go to? Oh well, like a park or a museum or a zoo or a special place that has had a history or just that you've gone to. What has been the best place that you have ever visited? Whatever it's been. No, 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 no. Shoot, no, Julian. Not one bit. I'm going to tell you something, young man. I think autistic people are even more intelligent than people that doesn't have autism. I'm serious. I honestly believe that people that's got Down syndrome and autism are 20 times smarter than people that's got a more normal mind. What's been the best movie that you've watched so far? In the theater, what's been the best movie that you've caught so far? I don't even go to the movies anymore. It's been 5 years since I've gone to the movies. The Martian, was that a remake of my favorite Martian, or was it something completely different? Why did it say that there was too many letters? Yeah, I think they only allow you up to 200 letters. Huh. I've never even heard of that. That sounds interesting. Never even heard of it. I'll have to see if I can actually find a listing of that or something. It would be odd having to try to survive on Mars. Yeah, you are. You're a very light sleeper. Well, God definitely done that for you, Mom, because He knows how that you feel about catastrophes now. He done that for your peace. That is awesome. Oh, well, that's good to know. Um, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago. He was in 4 days ago. And I remember when he left, he said that he was going to go watch the movies. So it has been a little while. Yeah, everything's okay, Julian. Has there ever been any place else that you've enjoyed visiting, Julian? Well, what was the myth, Luke? What was the myth that was there in Alaska? Yeah, me too. One that I keep missing is Levi. By then, it'll probably be a very, very, very small storm. It might actually end up blowing itself out before it completely goes, before it finishes. Wow. Oh, wow, look. It's gaining strength again? Whoa. The water wasn't very pretty? Wow. I don't know that I've ever heard of a storm that picked up speed again after it hit land. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, that would be something I wouldn't forget. And the legend itself is very eerie and haunting. That's kind of cool that you used to live in Alaska. Yeah, that is true. It makes a big difference with the temperature. Well, the storm has got to die. Why would you say that the water wasn't very pretty, Julian? Was the beach nasty or something? Or the water was just murky or what? I think beaches are pretty in themselves, but I went to Galveston and the waters are literally brown. Oh, okay. Okay. Did you try to go swimming? Yeah, I saw that there was a whole mess of other hurricanes that was kind of behind Dorian. I saw that whole mess of them. Actually, not so much behind Dorian, but they was definitely out in the ocean in the east. Oh, well, at least you got to go. You got to see the beach, and I'm sorry that you didn't get to enjoy the water very much, though. Yeah, tropical storms can be rough. Storms altogether are hard. I don't care what they are, they're hard. Have you had any ill weather from the tail of Dorian, Julian? Has the hurricane sent any like cooler weather or rain or anything? Oh, bummer. The reason why I'm asking you, Julian, is because where you live in Virginia there, I'm wondering about the, or what it's doing with Virginia. Well, that's good. That's good. I know where I lived in Kentucky, every time that there was a storm on the coast, we would get somewhat winds and rains. I know they're always being attacked in Florida, and it's the same thing with Mexico and Louisiana and the southern part of Texas. Georgia gets knocked all the time, and then of course let's not forget that California is constantly being knocked on in some way or fashion. Yep, east and south. Yeah, that's the pitfalls of living around the coast. And then you live inland and you have to deal with tornadoes and other things. So the world, the earth is literally, um, the earth is a very angry globe, a very, very angry globe. There's always something going on with the earth. Well, about you, Mark, what's the most interesting place that you have ever gone to and visited? And I believe that. I really do. Yeah, she worked hard to put that together. So you don't think that you'll see anything living in Roanoke? Roanoke. Roanoke. Oh, well, then you kind of live in a box too, huh? Um, Most interesting place I have ever been to. Oh, most traveling that I've ever done was when mom and dad traveled. So I really don't remember much of anything. I haven't done much traveling at all after I had gotten married the first time. So I think my kids, or at least my oldest daughter, got to visit more interesting. Yeah, I, me and my ex-husband had took his dad and his second wife down to Florida a couple times. This was after his mother had died, and his dad had gotten remarried, and we took them down to Florida a couple times. Yeah, she was an interesting woman. She had enough money, so she had a house in Florida and a house in West Virginia. And during the hotter times of the year, she would move up to her West Virginian house. And then when it started getting cold in West Virginia, she'd move down to Florida. Technically, possibly. It's according to just where you rent in Mississippi. You're okay, Terry. I didn't even know if you'd gotten notification, and that's the reason why I shared with you that I was streaming, because I didn't know if you'd gotten it or not. Ain't nothing though, if you've got things that you got to do, you got to do. You're welcome. You didn't miss very much of Dylan's stream. He only ran it for around an hour. I'm doing pretty good. Ended up getting a good deal for the fiber optics for our Wi-Fi. Right now we're using DSL, and a representative for AT&T knocked on the door saying that they could get me a lower price on the fiber optics, and that it's for life as long as I make sure to keep up with it every year and call them in to keep up with it, to keep it. So currently our bill is 67 for DSL, and after they get the equipment in for the fiber optics, it's only going to be $49 a month. Yeah. And they gave us $100 free to spend however we want just for switching to the fiber optics. So that also means that there shouldn't be any more buffering on my end. Next Tuesday, they're supposed to come and install the new equipment for the fiber optics. So that is going to be awesome. And it being cheaper. Very good deal. I know. Hey, I tell you what, I love discounts and I like these too. And when you get them both in a package, that's terrific. So the only thing I've got to do is I've just got to remember that by next year around this time, be sure to call them up and say, I'd like to continue the $49 a month deal that we was issued. Because if we fail to call up to make sure that we continue getting that, it will jump up to $80, which still isn't bad for high speed. $80 isn't, but why go up to $80 if you can keep 49 for life? And like I told the kid, I said, yeah, but I know that when there's good deals like that, after a year and the contract's up, you pay regular price for the rest of the time. He said, yeah, but we're not doing it by contract. We're doing it by whatever it was he said anyway. So I said, well, that sounds even better. Actually, it's already been put into their system for me to do DS, for me to use fiber optics. So when they come Tuesday and give me the router or whatever it is that gets the fiber optics running throughout the house, because it's not a router. I don't know what it is, what the equipment is, but it gets the fiber optics to run throughout the house. Anyway, because we've already got the fiber optics installed in the walls, they already took care of that. So it's just whatever equipment that they use. Tuesday, they're going to come take care of the equipment, and there we have it. We will be able to tap into the fiber optics and start using it. So as of the 10th, hopefully I will be running on fiber optics Tuesday night. If not Tuesday night, definitely Wednesday. Okay, Mark. You took a lot of editing into that video that you done, Terry. That was really good how you done that. I think you done a good job. A very good job. It was extremely interesting. You're welcome. And I'm wondering how that we can start grabbing the traffic and bringing them back in. No, you're not creepy, but you definitely do know how to make the videos work. I have to say, though, you done perfect timing with that laugh. All right, Julian, you have a good night, buddy. I love you, my bud. Oh, that was Vincent Price. Cool. Man, I would have never guessed that was Vincent Price, but that was absolute perfect timing. I mean, you didn't screw that edit up one bit. Right from the first second to the last second. You got that perfect. And it's not easy to get the splice right in place. It's not easy to get that right on mark. So yeah, that was perfect. No worse than what you've done with your Chuckette, with your orphan Annie. So anyway, Julian just shared with us that he's got mild autism. So whenever he goes on about a certain subject and we try to get him to stop, it's just that autism kicking in. Yeah, that explained a whole lot. He got asking Mark some crazy questions, and we kept telling him that's enough. We don't want to share that. And then finally, he explained he's got mild autism. So that explains a lot about Julian, and that tells me more how I'm to handle him when he gets started on certain things. I asked him if there was any way that anybody had ever got him to like change out subjects or got his attention or whatever. And he said, just keep asking him nicely. So we're just going to have to be patient with him until he switches subjects. Yeah, and it does. It makes a big difference. We need to know these small things about everybody in the chat, just the small things, so that we know how to deal with them. I mean, we don't need to know every detail and stuff, but the things that counts most in the chat. All right, Mom, I love you too. So let's see. Oh, and I've decided that, oh, okay. Oh. If she practices enough, she won't have to use Vincent Price no more, will she? She'll get that down herself. But that was perfect timing with that laugh. Right on the mark. Wait till she gets back in here so I can share with her what I was thinking about doing. Did Mark actually say that he had to go or that he would be right back? Okay. You didn't make it to this. No. I found out that Jiffy is 1/trillionth of a second. It's an actual measure of time, Jiffy is. And so whenever we say that we'll be back in a Jiffy, and we are definitely not back in 1/trillionth of a second, we're just the same as lying. Yeah, I always thought that Jiffy was just a phrase, I didn't realize it was a real mark of time. But sure enough, there was, I think Dylan said that it read that a Newton or somebody, anyway, they timed it and they named it a Jiffy. So that's like, wow. We ended up finding out a whole lot of things. Karaoke is a Japanese word that means empty orchestra. Kari means empty, and oki means orchestra. So that was pretty fascinating. It ends up being pretty interesting doing trivias. You find out so many things. I know. Playing trivia makes it worth it. I mean, you end up finding tons of things, finding out all kinds of things. It's so interesting. I found out that there's such a thing called a tern, and it's a bird. Awesome. Anyway, I was getting ready to share with you, and I don't think that Luke was on yet either, but I did get to share it with Julian and Mark. I'm thinking about doing that right-winged dove came close to the window. It almost busted its nose. I'm glad it turned. Anyway, I'm thinking about at least on Saturday nights calling it lights out stories. So what I'm considering about doing is doing a short clip where I explain back when the power would be out, I would tell a story to my children and then go from there and then just use that as a startup and add it to every one of my stories every time I do them. And I actually turn out the lights and just use the light of the screen for my face. That way, it's like you literally are in a power outage. Well, you'll get to see my beautiful face, but a little bit will show up from the screen. Actually, I do. I believe that, Terry. I do. I believe that. I kind of figured that much where you was actually afraid of the storms. I kind of figured that you was also afraid of the dark. But yeah, but that's what I'm thinking about doing because every time that there would be a power outage, my kids would say, "Tell us a story, Mom," and that's what I do. And so I'm thinking about doing that at least just once a week. And if I end up getting a lot of views on it, I might do one every night or so. Oh, yeah, go figure. For you, Terry, you keep your lights on. That way you're okay. And Luke, if you can't handle the lights out, leave yours on too. I'm going to be the only one with the lights out. But you know what? That kind of gives me a good idea when I make my startup. I'll add, and if you want the true experience of hearing a blackout story, turn your lights off too. I've just got to make sure to get the words right. And I'm wanting to have some kind of a sounding background or something, but I do know I'm going to put it as Amy's Travels and Vlogs presents Lights Out Stories or something like that. Awesome. Flashlight in both hands. uh, and not all of the stories are going to be horror, but any story that I tell will have to be of a good story that will match having a blackout. Yep, gotta have those munchies. Definitely gotta have those munchies. Make sure that you've got your favorite coffee too, Terry. You gotta have something to put down that popcorn with. Yeah, I just hope that it really takes off. If I don't get very much traffic in for like the first one or so, then I'll just cut it off. But it'd be worth giving it a shot. It might end up being my true bread and butter. Really? Well, give it a little bit more time, but everything else is pumpkin spice now. Well, I saw that you already had over 40 views when I watched it, so you've got a good chance. And mine's not going to have so much flavor to mine like yours. You done so much good editing. About the best anybody's going to get with me is to see a glowing face. Yeah, that's true. Now, on the whole part, my stories are going to be made up, but some of them are, they're going to be like what I had heard from my ex-husband's family and what I'd experienced. And I'm just going to add little twists here and there so that they're not so personal. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how glowing my face is going to be. It's going to be interesting to see how the camera does. The Queen Mary phone. You know what? If I can't get my video phone to do what I need it to, but actually, if I try to record it from this side, I know it won't light up. But if I record it from this side, the flashlight will turn on. So that's what I'll do. I'll turn it from this, I'll let it film on this side. That way the camera, the lighting will come on. That's how I'll do it. Because normally I always film with the open screen. I don't film with the lens. I film with the screen. The one reason, though, why that I choose to use the screen is because if there's actually a call, then like it'll knock out the recording. And I can't tell if there's a call if I'm using the lens. But if I'm using the screen, then I can see the call. And strangely, with the call, with using the screen, if there's a call, it'll just flash up the number. It won't actually kick out the filming. It's weird. And that's what I would have to do. I've got to remember to do that, put it in airplane mode. But I do know that the only way that the flashlight's going to turn on is for me to use the lens and not the screen. I actually discovered that by accident when I was filming Bouncy after I gave her the bath. It was actually just shaded enough in the living room that the flashlight turned on to give enough lighting because I was viewing through the screen, but I was using the lens on Bouncy. And the flashlight actually came on to give enough lighting, and that's how I discovered, okay, so that's what I'll do. Because I was thinking I'll have to use a little flashlight, so I've got that. I might do that anyway, just underneath the chin. Yeah. Liar. It's already been a jiffy. No, but I was just sharing with Luke on Dylan's live stream. We done trivia, and we found out that jiffy is actually a time measurement. It is 1/trillionth of a second. Good to see that you're back, Mark. I shared with Luke about jiffy. Yeah, so anytime we say that we'll be back in a jiffy, there's no way that we would ever be back in a trillionth of a second. There's no way that we ever would be. So we basically lie when we say we'll be back in a jiffy or we'll get this done in a jiffy. We literally lie. Yeah, you did. You took longer than a jiffy, but you didn't say that you'd be back in a jiffy either. Man, we really found out some interesting things on that trivia today. Today. I was about ready to say tonight, but it was today. Anyway, we learned a lot. Didn't sleep good again. Have you tried that calming tea? Life happens, Terry. I mean, that's the way it goes. I didn't think I was going to make Dylan's live stream myself. Well, I'm glad to know that you did get to sleep. Yeah, who was it now? No, what's her name again? It's a Beautiful Life. No, I still don't know her name. Anyway, she's the one who suggested the tea, wasn't it? Empty Orchestra. It's Empty Orchestra. It's good to see that we've got a little crowd now. Anyway, we got to figure out how to start getting the crowds back in. We've really got to get those crowds back in. I was going back over all of the different chats that we had had. Oh, that's okay, Mark. That's okay. Anyway, I was going back over the different days of the chat, and like Price, we had up to 14 people come in, and another time 16. But in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, in the last 4 chats, including today, we have had less than 8. I've got to try to start getting people to come in again. And at first, I thought maybe it was something that I'd done, but I realize now that it was all that trouble that had come in. So somehow or another, we've got to get them to come back in, start coming back in. It's probably you listening to me while trying to type that in. The birds must really be active out there. Catherine has got her eyes glued to the window. It is, and it seriously did hurt my chats. I was averaging anywhere from 8 hours to 12 hours worth of view time, and now I'm lucky if I see 5 hours worth of view time. Even though, like, I only run them for about 2.5 hours, but with no traffic, I've been cutting them off under 2 hours. So that's really, it has really been slim pickings. And there's nothing else that I can say. I give the video for what time the stream is going to be, and tell people come in, meet new folks, and be promoted, and we're going to be doing this and that. And so I guess I just got to keep putting it out there, and hopefully word of mouth, people will say, okay, Amy's chat's safe again. Well, I would love to put a poll out there just to see what people would say. But one time I'd put a poll out and nobody even answered. So, okay. Dylan might make it in. He had to go to Sam's Club. He said that if he makes it back in time, he'll try to get on. It's just a matter of seeing if he makes it or not. Oh, yeah. I'm not worried about it. I'm just trying to figure out how how that I can encourage people to come back in, that it's safe now. Well, I would love to, girl, but you gotta give me time to get down there. Oh, well, Levi hasn't really seriously been in. He briefly showed up a few nights ago, and he was only on maybe 15 minutes or so. And Ian hasn't been in now for around 6 days or so. And Anthony, of course, pops in and out whenever he wants. And Mitch has been a no show for 4 days. And basically, our regulars have been missing, and that's nothing but I kind of, I don't know. I think Levi did manage to come in last night. No, he didn't. Wasn't last night. Wow. Oh my gosh. 4 days ago. Yeah. Mm. Are you sure? I must not have wrote his name because I don't have his name down. I must have got caught up in something else. Yeah. Okay, well that's what it was. Then I was pretty sure that he had showed up yesterday, but I had failed to write him down. Yeah, I wrote his name down just now. I was thinking he came in yesterday, but apparently I got caught up in whatever it was I was trying to talk about and failed to write him down. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know school has took a whole lot of time too. That's the reason why it's not so much like, with the boys missing so much. I can understand that. Yeah, I did. I actually had gotten caught up. I know what it was, where it had started buffing, and I had to start it over again. And that's when the greater amount of people showed up yesterday. Actually, I think the bigger crowd was in the first one because I've actually got more view on the first video than on the second one. But it was different people who showed up on the second one. Yeah. Well, I do know Ian had said that, like, his online schoolwork has been getting harder. And that was actually the last time we saw him. So it could just be that he's struggling himself for time alone, trying to keep up with his schoolwork and everything. But that's perfectly understandable. Basically, though, it's not like our creative career or anything. I'm wanting to get some trustworthy visitors in because we was getting all kinds of good people coming in, good visitors, and so maybe like we really don't get no visitors now. We don't get unknowns come in anymore hardly. Maybe, but that doesn't explain why he changed his name. Who knows? Maybe one of these times he'll come in and explain himself. Yeah. Yeah, and I really didn't have anything to leave a link for other than his poll and his update. And I kept switching back and forth. But he might come in one day and explain what he had to do. A good possibility. I do know though that ever since all that hit the fan with Joy and stuff, it done a lot of damage to a lot of people. I do hope that you've got an intuition right there, Luke, or a premonition or something, because I'm wanting something that will really help boost this channel. That's the reason for the live streams mostly is to boost it, and it did. I'm over 900 hours of view time now. So doing these live streams, I have gone from 698 to the last time I looked, 910. So the live streams helped a lot. Oh, I hope so. I know I do like sharing stories. It would make a great addition. I'm even thinking about rather than putting it on different subject blogs playlist, I have its own playlist. Lights Out Stories playlist. Just for that. Hey Levi, we just talked about you, buddy. Been missing most everyone and wondering how that we'd be able to start getting people come back into the chat. Anyway, it shows that I had signed up on YouTube back in 16, but I wasn't doing videos. I was a viewer, just a viewer. And basically, that's just when I built a Google account, basically, is what it is. That date is just my Google account. But I started being a YouTuber, I think it was like the first or second week of February last year. It's good to know that you're doing good, Levi. Hey, buddy, you're part of my creative crew. How do you reckon that we can get more people coming to these chats? Yeah. How do you think we can spread the word to get people to start coming back in again? Yeah, very coincidental. I think the one thing, if more of my viewers actually had channels with videos, then they could spread the word about this chat. But just being a viewer, you can't necessarily spread the word like that. Oh, yeah. We just talked about how much we miss you, how much we're missing everyone. Oh, and I'm just wanting to be sure to share with you. I'm trying to make sure to share with everybody who it may concern. When Julian starts going off about certain things and we try to get him to switch subject and he won't drop it, we found out that he's got mild autism. So we just got to be patient with him and keep urging him to switch subjects. We'll just have to work with him, be patient about it. None of us did. No, none of us knew. But he finally shared it with us today. He kept asking Mark about more personal questions, and we kept telling him that we just didn't want to talk that deep. And finally, he admitted that he's got mild autism. So we got to keep that in mind and keep gently pushing him toward other subjects. We're going to have to do something extremely cool. Extremely cool. I don't know if like do it all through the month of October or on Halloween only, but something cool. Got to do something cool. Yeah, I never really did do all that much with my kids when it came to Halloween. To think of a really special thing to do in the chat on Halloween. Yeah, I know. I know. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. General chat is okay if you really get into a good conversation. If it's something that goes from one subject to another with no problem, just ease. But when there's open air with nothing to be said, that's when it gets awkward. And what's that, Mark? I'm always up for ideas. And that's what you guys are good for. That's why I appreciate you so much. So, what you got on your mind, buddy? Well, that's understandable. That's understandable. I can understand that, Mark. I do. And that's the reason why I'm always trying to have different things going on in the chat instead of just having a chat. Because I know people don't want to just come in and listen to nothing. So, well, that's perfectly okay, Mark. And you can tell her it doesn't hurt my feelings. Anytime the chins have got ideas, anytime I want to hear them. Well, now we know why. I bore her. Nah. But no, I understand, Mark. I really do. And that's another thing that we've got to be patient about, Levi. Mark just told us that she's got ADD. So that alone would kind of make it hard to enjoy chats if chats are boring to begin with. So yeah, she's fine. She's fine. I can definitely understand that. I've always been a boring person, though. That's just it. I've never, the only time I had an imagination was when I was a child. As an adult, I'm blank. I'm more of a listener than I am a talker. Oh, wow, wow. Well, I tell you what, I'm finding out more and more about my crew. And like I told Julian, because he said that now he thinks that everybody's looking at him like he's dumb. And we just had to relieve him by letting him know that everybody deals with something. Everybody has some kind of issue. So, wow. Hello, Savannah. Yeah, we do. And it is so very good for us to know these little things about each other so that we know how to handle one another on this chat. It goes such a long way to know and understand. He is. Well, I'm glad that you got done. Oh, I see. So Rich was harder of the issue, your attention deficit or your hyperness. My ex-husband's nephew suffers from ADHD, and he's got a very short attention span, but his hyperness is even worse. Ah, it is interesting to see. I mean, it. I'm not saying that I want to know that everybody suffers something, but it's nice to know what everybody has to deal with so that we can be more empathetic. It makes a huge difference in knowing what everybody goes through. That way, you can be more sensitive. Oh, and since you're on here, Levi, oh, it might have been Dylan. I think it was Dylan who had suggested it because there's been a couple requests for me to start doing the mystery stories again with Nosy Nancy. And I think I've heard of Adderall. Anyway, he had mentioned that I do mystery stories using Nosy Nancy and the Karen that you was talking about. But I'm not wanting to do that unless you give me the go ahead. I mean, it wouldn't have to necessarily be the Karen that you was speaking about, but I could use some of the ideas that you was talking about that Karen. If you wouldn't mind, I could come up with more stories with Nosy Nancy and Karen. Because I was thinking like maybe they would be friends. Thank you, Levi. All right, I've got me some story material and got me some characters now. Detective Debbie is okay. I couldn't do anything with Dr. Doofus. Debbie is too serious. And Nancy, she's just got to keep getting into trouble, but there's got to be somebody who edges her on. And I kind of figure that'd be Karen. So we would have Nosy Nancy, just seriously so nosy, and Karen, who is a busybody. Perfect duo. Thanks, Levi. For sure. Hey, Don. Long time no see. How you doing? So, yep, that gives me some stories. That hopefully will keep Nikki's attention. I'll be going over some storylines. And tomorrow night there will be a reacquaintance with Nancy and her partner in crime, Karen. Well, that's good. It's always good to be busy, as keeps your mind off of other things. Yeah, me too. Well, she spells it as Nicole, but we all call her Nikki. I'm assuming it's an I. All right, Terry, you have a good night. Love you, woman. Um, I was just getting ready to say something. Something I just hit. Oh yeah. With my ideas of doing lights out stories and doing stories with Nancy and Karen, you can call me the new Mother Goose. Oh, it's always good to get more interaction. Always good. Hope Terry caught that. Yeah. Yeah, it's always good for you to have interaction in your videos. All right, Luke, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate that you stayed. That's good. You have a good night. Okay. Are you leaving too, Don, or just saying bye to the ones that's had to go? Oh, well, that works too. I'm pretty well out of things to say. I don't know what to say now, but I tell you what, it was very good for us to get to know each other a little bit better. Yeah, I was just going to say I'm going to be shutting this down at 2 hours, so that's just 2 more minutes. But it was very good to get to know a little bit more about people and what they deal with so that we know better how to handle them. It's always good to know stuff like that. That's important. So, yeah, I'm going to be shutting this down in a minute. I'm glad that you got to come in, even if it was closer toward the tail. Well, you're doing pretty good so far, Don. Um, we ended up with just 7, and I didn't write your name down, so you make 8. You gotta be sure to start getting the attention of the crowd again. We'll get them. We'll start drawing them in again. I have to be patient about it, but we will. We'll start getting the crowd in again. We'll start drawing them. Anyway, I'm so grateful that Jens had come in. No, that's okay, Levi. You know, I do understand that there's life outside of YouTube, and I wouldn't never want anybody to try to make it in if it's impossible. So, but it's always good that everybody can make it at least in toward the end. Anyway, I'm going to go on ahead and shut this down. And just whenever you can, Levi. Anytime you can, it's better than nothing. I always miss it when my creative crew is missing. definitely. And then any strangers who pops in is great. But I definitely always miss my creative crew. Love you, buddy. Good night, Don. You all have a good night. Good night, Savannah. I love you, dear.